Hey and welcome to a new little video series that I wanted to start today I played, or I could have also called it today I beat, because here I just want to talk a little bit in a mini review kind of style about video games I've played, video games I've beaten, and I'm not going to do it with a script, I'm just going to do it like freestyle. In the background you can mostly see my gameplay from my stream when I played the game, and the first game I wanted to talk about is Shadow of Memories, or also Shadow of Destiny in America, because it is a pretty nice game. Right from the start I can already say that. And also, if you think, I'm going to do my review at the end where I say, wow, it's amazing or not, here it was. But basically, it's a game that is an adventure game. It has to do a lot with time travel. And, I guess I'm just going to say a little bit about the story from the start. Again, no spoilers. You basically are Ike. You are a German dude who lives in a town, or maybe he doesn't live complete in a town, maybe he lives just around it, in Lebensbaum. Lebensbaum basically translate to like life tree. And here's a cool thing. I'm German, and we don't really get many games where you play in Germany, for example. Like there's Autobahn Simulator 2023 where you can drive through Berlin or stupid stuff like that. But it's very rare that there's an actual game that plays in like a German style city. This town is like completely fictional, I think. I googled it. There's no town called Lebensbaum in Germany. It translates to life's tree. It doesn't really have, it has a little bit of meaning, yes, but I don't want to say too much. And one thing, again, it doesn't have to do with anything. It is really nice how much detail they put into the city. Like, you can see the graphics. This is a game from 2001. You can't expect like the best looking game ever. But one nice thing that especially Germans will notice is that all the signs in the city, they actually have German names. There's actual care put into it. Like the signs will say cafe instead of like coffee. There's like a photography shop that says like Fotoaufnahme. So the developers actually put a lot of care into it. So you as a German will maybe feel at home. It was really nice because we don't get many German games, sadly, that take place in Germany. Obviously, the game is in German, but it takes place in Germany. So I'm blabbling too much about that. So basically, you're Ike, and the thing is, at the start of the game, you die, you get assassinated, someone stabbed you, and you think, oh, who could have done that? Why am I getting assassinated? What did we do to deserve this? So you die, and you wake up in an unfamiliar room, and some voice is talking to you. And here's a fun fact: the voice that's talking to you is Charles Martinet, the voice for Mario. I didn't know that. I found it out when I looked a little bit at the wiki to find information and stuff. And there's a nice YouTube channel called Shadow of Memories Destiny Wiki that also belongs to the wiki, I guess, where there's like tons of stuff on there. You can see all the endings, all the information about items, all the OSTs, and it's a very nice channel if you want to find more about the game. But anyways, and Charles Martinet is telling you, hey, you died. Do you want to have a second chance at life, or do you want to perish? And when someone gives you a second chance at life, what do? Obviously you take it, even though you don't know what it means in the end, because you won't know. Why does this person, this creature, this devil, this god, this angel, why does this creature or person or whatever you think it is, because it's just a voice, why are they going to give you a second chance? Why? Obviously, a deal always has two people who take the deal. The person who takes it without knowing what it gives them or takes, think about it. But you get a second chance at life. So you don't really think about the repercussions that could come in handy, right, at the end. But anyways, it's up to you to find out why did they give you this deal and why are we getting assassinated? Why is all of this happening? And, throughout the game, it's a mystery game, an adventure game where you have to solve puzzles, kind of like puzzles in a way where you obviously don't shove boxes around, but there's certain situations like how to not get assassinated. That's like the main plot of the game. Every time you survive an assassination attempt, because you change the time, because that's the thing, I totally forgot to say it, you basically get a device that lets you go back in time. It doesn't let you go further in time, it only gets you back into a time period that you can choose from, and then you can go back to the current time, but you can't go into the future. So basically, you go back to the past to always attempt to not die. Because sometimes you die and you think, oh, how could I have done this better? Then you go back in time, you find out how to do it, and then you go back into your time, see what happens, what you change, because there's a lot of nice puzzles in this game actually, where, at the start here, you have to find people to stand with. Because you can't get assassinated if there's people around, right? So you try to find people who want to do stuff with you in the first chapter. Like, it's basically prologue where it teaches you how to play the game. And you know, every time you can travel to a different time period, your thing, it shows you a sign, and you can then go into a time, look around and think, how would I do this? And to the top right, you can see there's like this green life meter thing. It's not life meter, it's basically to show you how many times you can travel back in time. This mechanic does absolutely freaking nothing, because you can walk around, you can find things to pick up, you pick it up, you get a new green thing, and every time you travel back and forth, you lose one of these green things. You will never run out of them, and it's a mechanic that doesn't really make a lot of sense. Basically, it's basically the developers telling you, hey, don't waste them, even though there's like so much you can always pick up. There's, for example, is someone laying around in a gameplay right now, and you will never really run out of them, really, because most of the time it's very clear where you have to go and kind of what you have to do in a time period, because the game pushes you into the right direction. It's not an extremely hard game, but it does get a little bit hard when you want to replay the game. But basically, that's the time mechanic where you go back in time and try to avoid getting assassinated. That's the whole plot of the game, and you find out more and more. And it has a lot of replayability because there's different endings, many of them, like 8 endings, but I think 2 of them are only in the PSP version. I didn't even know the PSP version existed. I played it on the PlayStation 2 emulator. There's also a PC version, but you know, making it run on newer PCs is probably a nightmare, so I would recommend probably emulating the PlayStation 2, maybe PSP version, and then you play it. And the game actually does kind of look nice with the character models. Like, the town itself also is very comfy, and you know, every time you go back in time, you see the town in a different light. Like, it mostly has the same layout, but you know, you can go back into the past 500 years. Obviously 500 years ago the world was a completely different place, and sometimes you only go like 20 years into the past. You sometimes even see the same characters in those times, because you know, there's like a jogger dude who walks around and he's an old dude, but then you go back in time 20 years and suddenly he's young. Or did I say old? Like, obviously he's old in the future, but then he becomes very young. And it's nice to see the same characters, and also the characters from 500 years ago. You see the ancestry, you know, like the guy who has the bar or overtook the bar was actually a guy from 500 years ago who planted a tree, or you want him to not plant a tree. So basically, it's very nice that the same game is just this little city. You don't really leave the city, but it changes throughout the times, and you can even change the city itself with the actions you do in the past. And it's very nice. It's a cool idea. And as a German, I do love the look of the city, because it really makes you think, you know, you're going through like an old part of an old German city. And that's for the gameplay kinda. What the meat of the game is really the way you can shape the world and the way you talk to the characters, and to see how many possibilities you can have to recruit people, or how to change how you die. Like, some ways you can go with like 2 different paths, and sometimes even 3 maybe. You know, it's up to you what you find and how you change it. And there's also side quests that probably give you better ending. There's like a side quest about a little girl who wants a cat. So I go back to the future, take a cat, go back to the past, give the kid the cat, and then she has a cat. Isn't that neat? You know, I wish I had a cat, but sadly I don't have a cat. And the whole game just feels cozy, and it's never really frustrating. Even if you don't find out how to survive, you basically get a game over. And when you get a game over, you just get this set point where you start again, and most of the time, like, sometimes it was a little bit weird. Sometimes I died and got a game over screen where I had to go back to this menu screen, and sometimes I got a game over where I go back to a set point where I was allowed to continue. And every time you go back to the main menu though, you have to watch the cutscenes again. But if you get back sent to a specific point, you can skip the cutscenes, because they knew you died and watched them already. It's a little bit weird in that regard, but the cutscenes are not overly long most of the time, but sometimes yeah, a little bit. But obviously, you know, the story is also pretty nice. And you know, when you only get like 1 playthrough, it really depends on the ending you get. I looked up a few different endings to piece the pieces more together, because you don't really get the big picture of the whole story if you only beat like 1 ending. So it's like recommended to maybe look it up if you don't want to replay the game. And obviously the thing is, sometimes there's puzzles in an adventure game like this where you think, why like one time you get assassinated by getting stabbed into the back, and you would think, okay, the thing is, if I know I'm gonna get stabbed at this time, at that point, how about I avoid being at that point? How about I avoid not paying attention? Like, I should know that there's someone gonna be behind me in 5 seconds. But no, Ike is the kind of person that thinks, if someone is trying to stab me, I should get an iron plate. So you go through the city trying to find a frying pan to put into your backpack, which you don't have. Like, I don't know how the frying pan stuck to his bag. And you put it onto your bag, and then the assassination dude stabs your iron pan, and he's like, yeah, I killed you, even though, sorry, he should have clearly seen that you didn't die. So sometimes, those puzzles are a little bit out there, but it's still very nice. It's also not very hard, like I said. The puzzles are mostly very logical, and the game really nudges you into the right directions if you really don't know where to go, because you have a notebook and you can check it, your notes. And most of the time when you can travel, I said, the game really tells you, hey, you can travel, and then the different time periods also have a little bit of a note under there where it tells you, I wonder if you could travel here. But overall, this is an unexpected gem. I know that's a Redditor thing to say, but it was... I really did not expect to like the game that much, because I'm not a big adventure game kind of person. So I would really recommend this to everyone who is maybe on the lookout for a nice adventure game. And I'm pretty sure if you are an adventure fan, you should have played it already, but if you didn't, I would recommend it a lot to you. It is really nice to see what happens. And I'm normally not the kind of person that enjoys time travel stories. I'm the kind of person that never really truly enjoyed Steins Gate or stuff like that. But here it makes sense. And it's kind of fun to see what happens. And it's fun to see the world change around you, even though some things will always stay the same. Also, there's a hot drink in the game. Or maybe it's just me, but there's a person, and I would like him to fuck me. But anyways, that's all of it. I think I've said everything. The music also is kind of nice. It's a little bit like thriller-like sometimes. It sets you in a state of panic sometimes with the way you're like, oh, I'm gonna get assassinated. Like, it fits. It just fits. It's like nothing super special, but it's not bad. It's nothing that will stay in your mind forever, but it fits the scenes it plays in most of the time. And that's all I can say about this. I would really recommend this. I'm gonna buy myself a used copy of this game on eBay. It's like one of those nice games that you kind of put into your heart. Like, normally I'm not the kind of person that looks up wiki stuff, but like I said, I did a little bit, and it's a game that will stay on my mind. Like, it's not a game that I just beaten and I will have forgotten already back in a few days. So it made me kind of happy playing this game. I would recommend this, and that's it. Today I played and beat, even though that was 3 days ago. But I hope you enjoyed the video, and I play a lot of video games, so maybe I will make a lot of these videos. So enjoy your day, or night, or morning, or whatever it is in your time right now. I hope you will enjoy it.